Welcome back to the March edition of Conversations with Archbishop Kurtz, and what a treat it is for me to welcome Carole Goodwin. Carole, thank you for being interviewed as part of this segment.
I'm delighted, thank you.
Just to give you a little background about Carole, Carole is in her 22nd year as the director for young adult and youth ministry within the Archdiocese, and in fact, at the end of this month, she will complete her time. So this is really a historic time. I know you're a member of St. William's Parish,
yes.
And we're really delighted that you're here today. Thank you, Carole.
You're welcome, thank you.
Tell us a little bit of the background. What got you into young adult and youth ministry?
Well, I worked as a pastoral associate in the Archdiocese of Oklahoma City. And
you grew up in Oklahoma?
My dad was in the Army, so I grew up all over the world.
You were everywhere,
in a sense.
okay.
But Oklahoma's where we landed when he got ready for retirement, and my undergraduate work is in Oklahoma.
Okay.
So from my young adult years, yeah, that's been home in a sense. And I was drawn to diocesan ministry as kind of a next step. And my counterpart in Oklahoma City wasn't going anywhere. In fact, she's still there.
Oh, my God.
So my spiritual director suggested check out some other dioceses and just see whether you would.
So go east.
Well, one of them was west. So.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. Within a day's drive of Oklahoma is what I wanted. So, But I knew my predecessor here, and I knew Dr. Reynolds from youth ministry work. So that drew me to interview here when an opening came here.
Well, oh, happy day, because really you have been a mainstay. Thank you for all the leadership. Just think of all the experiences you've had and even all the changes. What would you, if you were to talk about some of the highlights and some of the changes that have occurred, say a little bit about that.
I think the main highlight I reflected on would be empowering leadership. So our Archdiocesan Youth Advisory Board came under my tenure. Kind of the idea for it was an experience I had in Oklahoma, and I wanted to bring it here.
So that was not already begun when
no,
you
it wasn't.
well, I've had the privilege, I guess, pretty much every year to be part of
Work
that
with
in
those,
dialogue.
yeah, and
So
that's about 50
you.
teenagers from around the diocese that
Right.
serve on a leadership team, if you
Right.
will. And then also, if you look at young adult ministry, Louisville Young Catholic started under my tenure too. Some young adults approached me. We talked about what might be a model, and they run their own programming, but I have always supported them and met with them periodically and helped them to carry on. So for both of those areas,
that's been very good, and
yeah.
I know with young adults, many times it's someone who grew up here, and other times it's someone got a job here,
Right.
and they're looking to connect. But
Right.
but you've been great with
Right.
that. You've been great also with some of the movements. I'm thinking of Quest, and I'm thinking of the NCYC. So there's been some really
our
strong
NCYC group, which National Catholic Youth Conference every other year, our delegation has grown in numbers.
Yeah, what was it the last time? It was kind of
When I first came, we took 80. And then almost 500 2 years ago.
Wow.
So, and it's every other year.
Wow.
So, yes. And then for teenagers, we've brought in retreat programs that seem to have really served well, and really worked intentionally to train adults in youth ministry, whether they're paid or volunteer, full-time, part-time. We really have delved into that and steadily tried to empower those folks to do the best youth ministry they can.
Well, you know, I meet an awful lot of young people, and in fact, I would call it second generation, some young people who are now in leadership within parishes, and they cut their teeth on youth ministry. So talk about leadership development. You've really had a great hand in that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm going to ask you about retirement and what you're going to do with your free time and everything else. But before I do that, what are your thoughts about where young adult and youth ministry are going? I'm thinking, for example, I know our Holy Father has now made public that the next synod will be on youth and youth discernment and vocation. I guess that's October of 18.
Right.
So a little over a year from now, and then right after that, January of 19, will be World Youth Day in Panama.
Right.
So tell me a little bit, both either about them or about you're thinking the future. What are things on the horizon?
Well, kind of a nice little, I think, planting a seed and leaving it behind me is the Youth Advisory Board met last week, and we did look ahead to the Synod in 2018. The young people were looking at a letter that the Holy Father sent to young people specifically.
Good.
We pulled out some themes of that, and they actually are going to discuss that with you when you meet with them in March. So it's to prepare for your meeting with them, but it got them thinking.
So it'll be later this
too.
month, because here
Right.
we are in March,
Right.
and
You're
it'll be
right.
later this month. You and I will have a chance to meet with them.
Right.
Well, I'm glad you've done the spade work
Right.
on that, and that dialogue is really something I look forward to. I think I got knocked out of the box one year, but I'm in my 10th year, so I think I may have done it eight times so
Yes.
far.
Yeah.
And really, each one has been rich. And it's been a wonderful way to develop leadership. You know what else I've noticed is when someone is on that team, it affects their involvement in their parish youth ministry. I think they feel connected with
Right.
something bigger.
Or back at their schools if they go to a Catholic
Or their schools,
school.
that's right. That's exactly right. That's
Because they're
exactly
sent
right.
from either the schools or
Yeah,
the parishes.
yeah.
Right.
Well, we owe you really a great debt of gratitude. So everybody's wondering, what are you going to do now?
That's the big question, because I'm a doer.
Yeah.
I cannot see myself sitting back and doing nothing. So I'm going back to Oklahoma. That's where my family is, and a lot of strong friendship connections. And I've been in conversation with the Archdiocese there, so I've been invited to consider doing some teaching and training for them, which will be taking
Archbishop
the
Coakley,
skills
of course,
I've learned
is a good
here.
friend of mine. So.
Right. And then I want to be a good parish volunteer in many different aspects of parish life. So we'll see how that plays out.
Okay.
And I have friends
with people, and especially with young people, with your love of them, but also your organization. I remember the few times that you and I team taught, if you would, I guess that's the right word, with talking about the parents up at the NCYC gatherings up in Indianapolis. So that has been really a great gift. Remember, though, that you have to share your home in Oklahoma with Louisville.
I will.
This
I do
will
plan
always, will always be
This has
a
been home
for
for,
you.
amazingly enough, 22 years.
Yeah.
And I've already told my friends and folks here, I plan to return at least once a year and stay a significant amount of time to visit all the folks.
Excellent.
You know, young people, older people,
Excellent.
friends and people that I've worked with in ministry. So.
Well, Carole, I want to thank you, and really on behalf of the Archdiocese, thank you for the leadership that you've given. Thank you for making sure that you don't forget us now as you finish your work at the end of this month. And also, thank you for the way in which you've planned with succession. I know Carl Dolson will be taking on the mantle now of continuing your work, and you and he have worked so well together. So that serves the Archdiocese very well.
Thank you.
We really appreciate that.
Thank you, Archbishop. And I'll be praying for all of you,
Thank
too.
you. Thanks, Carole. And thanks to each of you for viewing this segment of Conversation with Archbishop Kurtz. And hold on for just a little bit, and we'll be back with the third segment of the March edition.